Hello everybody, how are you doing? Personally, I'm doing good. Thank you very much for tuning in our today's lesson. Thank you very much for subscribing to this YouTube channel. Kindly keep watching our videos. If you are new here, I'm Teacher Purity Joel. I teach mathematics to junior school students and senior school students. Feel much welcome. As you can see, this is a continuation of our previous video whereby we were discussing a grade 9 mathematics paper. And as you can see, we are now at question 28. We can proceed from there. A water reservoir has a filling tap and a draining tap. The filling tap can fill the reservoir in 30 minutes, while the draining tap can empty it in 45 minutes. Both taps were opened at the same time when the reservoir was empty. What fraction of the reservoir was filled after 15 minutes? That is part A of the question, which is awarded 2 marks. So what we're supposed to know is we're supposed to get the fraction of the filling, the fraction filled by the tap which is filling in 1 minute. If this filling tap fills the reservoir in 30 minutes, it means that in 1 minute, because in 30 minutes, 30 over 30 of the tank or of the reservoir will be filled, meaning that in 1 minute, 1 out of 30 of the tank will be filled. And then we have the draining tap, which in 1 minute, the draining tap will drain 1 out of 45 of the reservoir will be drained. And therefore, we are having that we are supposed to get the fraction of the reservoir filled in 1 minute. Fraction filled in 1 minute will be, remember, this is the filling tap will be filling 1 over 30 of the reservoir in 1 minute, but the other one is emptying, meaning that it is 1 out of 45. So, and this is supposed to give us 1 over 90. So 1 over 90 is filled in 1 minute when both taps are opened at the same time. And then the reservoir was initially empty before the filling. Remember, the question is what fraction of the reservoir was filled after 15 minutes. So if in 1 minute, the reservoir is filled, 1 over 90 of the reservoir is filled, it means that in 15 minutes, which fraction will be filled? Yes, this will be the same as 15 times 1 over 90 times 1, which is giving 1 over 6 of the reservoir. 1 over 6 of the reservoir will be filled in 15 minutes. Yeah, and to get your 2 marks, as simple as that. So we have part B of the question. Does have part B of the question. Yeah, here's the part B. How long did it take for the reservoir to become half full? How long did it take for the reservoir to become half full. So we already know in 1 minute 1/90 of the reservoir will be filled. So we know in 1 minute 1/90 is filled. So how long will it take a half to be filled? How long will it take half to be filled? Half will be filled after how long? So we shall have half multiplied by 1, and then instead of dividing by 1/90, we multiply by the reciprocal, so times 90/1, which is just the same as 90, and this is supposed to give us 45 minutes. So in 45 minutes, the reservoir will be half full. Look at that. Good. Let us proceed to question 29. Use substitution method to work out the values of x and y in the simultaneous equation, which is 4x plus 2y is equal to 16, and then the other one is 5x minus 4y is equal to negative 32. The keyword here is substitution method. My learners like elimination method so much because they usually tell me it is the simplest. I also tell them that when you are given simultaneous equations and you are not restricted to the method, you can use the one that you feel that it is simple. But when you are restricted, you strictly stick to that method that you are restricted to. Now, because the examiners or whoever set the exams, they know learners prefer elimination, and most of the times they ask of substitution method. So here we are. So when dealing with the substitution method, we label our equations. We can have equation 1 and equation 2, and then we take the one of the equations, make one of the unknowns the subject, and then from there we can substitute that to the other equation. So taking equation 1, again before that, you can also choose the easiest equation, which after looking at the variables, they will the coefficients of the unknowns can cancel each other, and then you can remain with a simpler equation. So in this case, I'm saying that taking equation 1, make y, you can make y the subject. So we'll have the equation is 4x plus 2y is equal to 16. So because we are after making y the subject, we shall take 4x to the other side of the equation, and we'll have 2y being equal to 16, then minus 4x. You see, I have intentionally picked or decided to make y the subject because I have already seen that the coefficient of y is 2, and it can divide. We can divide the other numbers by 2, hence getting a better part of y. So we shall have dividing by 2 by 2 by 2. We'll have y being equal to 8 minus 2x. Then now from there we can now substituting y in equation 2. Some learners make a mistake of substituting in the same equation they used to make y the subject. You substitute in the other equation. In that case, you end up getting 0, because you cannot substitute something where you have taken it from. So we'll have 5x minus 4. Instead of writing 4y, we already know what's the value of y. So wherever we have y, we shall substitute it with 8 minus 2x. And this will be equal to, substitute the value of y, which is 8 minus 2x, will be equal to negative 32. Opening the brackets, we shall have 5x minus 8 times, or 4 times 8, which is 32. And then we have negative 4 times negative 2x, which is negative integer times a negative integer. We are supposed to get a positive, and in this case this will be positive 8x. We shall have, grouping like terms together, 5x plus 8x is equal to negative 32 plus 32. Because of this negative 32, when it moves to that side, it will be a positive, and this will be equal to 13x being equal to 0, and 13 divided by 0 divided by 13, we can conclude and say that x will be equal to 0. Yes. Now the value of y, we already know that y is equal to 8 minus 2x, meaning that this will be equal to 8 minus 2 is to 0, and y will be equal to 8. So those are the values of y and x. Y is equals to 8, x is equal to 0. You also have, it's not a must for you to make y the subject. In this case, you can also make x the subject, and by the end of the day, you're also supposed to get the same answer. So number 13, during a community youth forum, there were 5x men, 3y women, and 180 youths. The number of men was 90 fewer than the number of women. Altogether, 750 people attended the forum. Part A of the question, find the values of x and y. So from the information given above, we are told that the total number of people who attended the forum was 750. And then we have 5x men, 3y women, and 180 youths. Meaning that 5x plus 3y plus 180 is equal to 750. Yes? Good. Then this can be simplified as 5x plus 3y being equal to 750 minus 180. I've taken the 180 on this side to have negative 180, and this will be equal to 5x plus 3y being equal to 570, because 750 minus 180 is equal to 570. And then we also know that we thought that the number of men was 90 fewer than the number of women. And what is the number of men? 5x. Meaning that 3y minus 5x is equal to 90. So you notice that we have formed simultaneous equations. In formation of simultaneous equations, we learned about those formations of simultaneous equations. So the simultaneous equations formed are this one and the other one, which is 5x plus 3y is equal to 570. Can write it better in another way for the y's to start, and then we follow the x's. So we'll have 3y minus 5x is equals to 90, and 3y plus 5x will also be equal to 570. So from there, we can subtract the two equations. I'm using the elimination method in this case now, not the substitution as before or as in the previous question. This case, using elimination method. We shall have, substituting the two equations, we shall have, or subtracting the two equations, we shall have 3y minus 3y being equal to 0, and then we'll have negative 5x minus 5x will have negative 10x. And this would be equal to 90 minus 570 is equal to negative 480, and dividing both sides by negative 10 because we want to negative 10 because we want to remain with x only. We divide both sides by the coefficient of x in that matter, and x will be equal to 48. Find the value of x and y. So we already have x, and then this x can be substituted in one of the equations. The equations that we have, we can substitute the value of x to get the value of y. So we can pick any of the equations, like 3y minus 5x will be equal to 90, meaning that 3y minus 5 into x, which is 48, is equal to 90, and 3y minus 240, because 5 times 48 is 240, will be equal to 90, and 3y will be equal to 90 plus 240, and dividing by 3 both sides, we'll have y being equal to 110, and therefore we have used the space for B and other questions, but no worry. Our main aim is to understand whatever we are doing. Look at that. We have the value of x, we have the value of y, what we are asked. And then from there, we can look at part B. How many men attended the forum? How many men attended the forum? And we already know that men were 5x from this. Yeah, 5x men. And then we already know x is equals to 48, meaning that the men were 5 times 48, which is equals to 240 men. So the men were 240. Yes, look at that. So the next question, given that D is equal to 4 s squared plus 1 over 4 s. Determine the value of d when s is equals to 2. So we are going to substitute the value of s with 2. Therefore, we'll have d being equal to 4 into s, which is 2, and then we are going to square the 2, plus 1 over 4 s, which is 2. And remember, this s is multiplied by a quarter. Some of my learners were raising the s to 4 as 4 power s, and then they were, when substituting, they were writing it as 4 power 2. No, this is multiplication. In between the quarter and s is multiplication. So this will be the same as d being equal to 4 times 4, because 2 squared is 4, then plus a quarter times 2, which is half. And this is the same as, using BODMAS, we'll have 4 times 4, which is 16, plus a half. And d will be equal to 16 and half. Thank you very much for watching this lesson up to that point. If you have not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, kindly subscribe, because more content is coming up for the best of your performance in mathematics. Till next time, bye bye.